Hello everyone. In today's video, I would explain the process by which PEGA can integrate with a new tool in the market called ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT essentially is a new type of chatbot which OpenAI has introduced, and it's gaining a lot of traction in the market. Now, since it's a new type of chatbot, the usual method of doing it is you can have a new chatbot configured here like this, and you can use that to kind of have a proper conversation flow which will kind of ask questions and you would get back answers using ChatGPT. But I have not done that because I have some issues with my chatbot case type which I have used. I probably need to reconfigure it. But so what I have done is instead of using the actual chatbot implementation, I have simply done it with a data page, and then I have used a PEGA Pulse messages to handle the actual request and response from ChatGPT. So what are the steps which are required to actually do this integration? Let's find out. Now, the configuration of ChatGPT is quite simple, and it essentially requires one connect REST to be configured within PEGA. But if you need further information regarding how ChatGPT works, you can check out the Wikipedia page. But before you do anything within PEGA, let's try to first kind of frame a use case, which I always do. The use case here is, let's say I would have some sort of a text message on the screen where I would ask a question to PEGA, and PEGA would then use ChatGPT to get the response back and would show that information on the screen. So let's try to implement that. Now, before you do anything within PEGA, you have to first go within this portal, beta.openai.com, as you can see. So once you go inside this, you have to also first register, because without registration you cannot do anything. So you need to register with your phone number as well as your email address. Now I have already done that, so I can't really do that again. But once you have done it, then you need to go to this option for playground. So when you click on playground, it actually gives you a page where you can play around with different questions. So how does ChatGPT work? So you can, let's say, ask a random question. Let's say who is the Prime Minister of Netherlands? So when you ask a question like this and when you submit, you can see the answer is coming back instantly, almost instantly. So on the background, what it's doing is it's actually calling the REST API, and it's actually loading the result back on the screen. So we will do the same thing within PEGA. So again, what I usually do when I'm trying to integrate with any REST API is I first try to do this within Postman. Now the principle is, if you can do something within Postman, you can also do it within PEGA. And doing it within Postman is a far easier way, because using Postman you can hit an API multiple times and you can see how it actually works without actually going into PEGA and then running from, let's say, from a front end. So as you can see, I had a so what I will do here is I will simply do the view code from option from here, okay, and you can get the values from here. Now inside this, what you can do is you can either choose the curl command, which I have done. So I think that will be the best option. You can also try with the JSON. I have not tried that, but I will try with the curl command. Now I will simply copy this and I'll go to Postman. Inside Postman, I will do import. And when you do import, you can give a raw text and you can give the curl command directly here. And when you click on it and when you click on import, it will automatically give you this entire thing populated. So let's say I save it as, I don't know, sample request. So you access, as you can see, this has the proper URL, this has the body, and this is just a simple question which has already been added. So if you want, you can just delete this completely, okay, and then again do the view code from here. It'll also work. It's the same thing. Now after this, this one also gives you the model name. Again, okay, let's come to PEGA part a bit later, but let's first look at the API from Postman, right? The Postman connector. So what I did next is I simply click on send. As you can see, it says incorrect API provided. Why? Because on the headers, there's this authorization field called open API key. Now, how do you get it? You need to close this, go to personal, go to view API keys, and you can create a new secret key, or you can use the one, of course I have created one already, so as you can see it's already there. But once you create it, you simply come back and you just give it here. So I will see if I can create, let me just copy it from the earlier one. And of course, for any basic authorization, you have to add the bearer a word in the background, in the prefix first. Once you give this and you click on submit, you can see that there is no answers. Why? Because you haven't asked a question, right? So what you can do is you can simply go back to the playground, okay, and let's say ask who is the, I don't know, Prime Minister of Nepal, okay, and then you do view code. So you can see the prompt value is given here like this, right? So you can just copy it from here, go to the body, replace it, and I think there's a comma after this, and then you click on next. So you can see the response is coming back, which means this is working fine. So as you can see, as long as you can make it work from Postman, you can then run it from PEGA. It's very simple, right? So I have now implemented this from Postman. So now it's just a matter of implementing the exact same thing from within PEGA. So how do we do it? Let's find out. Now within PEGA, what I have done is I just created a new component called ChatGPT integration component, and I have simply used the integration connector REST integration wizard, and then use that to integrate with the ChatGPT. Now again, I will not show you the entire process, but that will be too much. But the crux of the matter is that I have created one connect REST. I will come to the data page a bit later and the data transforms, and it just creates a set of properties which I have given as sample, right? So one way which I have used is, instead of directly hitting the API, I have used like a sample JSON files, and I've uploaded them as request and response. So once that is done, you then, once you complete the integration part, then you simply create a new data page, which I have done here. I have then added the search results, the connect REST. Then I've added two request and response data transforms. Again, these are pretty standard. Some small escape characters I have added because otherwise the data was not coming correctly. But yeah, it's just a matter of mapping the response, and also in the request I have mapped the request values, and also I have added the separate DSS which kind of maps the API key. And the values are pretty simple. The only thing that needs to be understood here is I have given two parameters, for one called model name and one for question. Now the model name, I'm not sure whether you can have different models. I guess you can choose different models, but I'm not sure exactly what is the difference between different models as of now. But I have taken it as a parameter, and the question, of course, is the question which the front-end user will ask. So once this data page is configured, you can then simply, let's say, run it once, and it should work fine if you have done it everything correctly. Let me see if I run it once here, and let me ask, let's say, what is yoga? Simple question, right? There's nothing difficult here. So you can see the response, yoga is an ancient practice, which comes back. So it kind of gives you the entire answer, right? So let's now try doing the same thing from within a section, because now that you have a data page, your first step was to get your ChatGPT or your OpenAI portal configured, which is just a simple copy and then creating a new API key. Then you come into Postman, you configure the API from there, and then you come into PEGA, and then you do the data page. And once data page is done, it's just a matter of using that data page to get the data. Now you can either choose it within a conversation flow, which will then allow you to use this chatbot. But as I mentioned, I have an issue with this. So I have created the entire set of logic. What I have done it within a pulse, a PEGA pulse. So again, I would not show you what I've done within the pulse. Pulse is pretty standard fare within PEGA. So what I've done is I've simply taken an activity which um, uses. I mean, one of the open activities which are being called while creating a new post message. So I will show you how that works. So I have simply created a new dynamic layout. The name is something I've given, and I've simply embedded the entire pulse feed directly within this Excel. Sorry, this dynamic layout. Now here, what I will do is I will ask a question. Let's say, who is the Prime Minister of India, right? If you click on post, it will not work. Why? Because I have given a specific logic in my code that any question which is asked has to be started with the term called question, like this. If you don't give it, it will not consider it a question, and not even hit ChatGPT, and it will be considered as a simple comment. Now, if I, for example, let's say ask a question like this, okay, and if I click on post, let's see what happens. So it's now going to ChatGPT and see question: who is the Prime Minister of India? Answer is the Prime Minister of India is Narendra Modi, right? So that you get back the answer. Now, of course, there are some things which need to be understood. So I mean, and that is something I figured out while I'm asking some pretty straightforward questions. For example, you can ask the question, who is the President of India? It's a very laughable thing, but if you click on post, you will see. Oh, sorry, I have to give the question. Sorry. Right, so I'll just ask the question. So what will happen is you will get back the answer is Ramnath Kovind, which is not correct because currently our president is someone else. But why is this? Because apparently the playground API, you can see it here. I think it's written here. It says that our default models. Let me zoom it a bit. You can see it says our default models training data cuts off in 2021. So if you are asking for some data which has happened in the last, let's say, 1 year, then you will not get it. So this is, I think, a limitation, but this can probably be resolved by creating your own trained models. But how exactly that happens, I have to check. But the idea here is that, once you have this kind of a scenario, you can then use this. So if you, for example, have a portal where you don't want, let's say, your customers or someone to go into Google and search for it, search for something, you can then simply add this directly within your PEGA application. So what it will then do is it will simply directly call ChatGPT and get your responses back. So as you can see, you can ask general knowledge questions, and there are, I think, some limitations regarding what size the answer can be. For example, if I ask a general question like who is Lionel Messi, right? If I ask a question like this, so you'll also get back. I've written this and I keep on forgetting. Anyway, if you for example write a question like this, question who is Lionel Messi, so you will get back a response. I don't know what happened, but anyway, I'll have to check. I don't know what happened. Anyway, yeah, I don't know something, but anyway. So as you can see, it actually gives you back an answer. Like Lionel Messi is an Argentine professional footballer who plays as a forward, but there is, I think, a limit, and there might be some issues with the accuracy of the data which is coming back. But yeah, the answer, the question here is, if you have a use case where you want to simply kind of get some basic data out of internet, but you don't want the user to go into Google and search for it, you can simply add or let's say a chatbot or a PEGA Pulse feed directly onto your application, and then you can ask the user to simply ask the questions, whatever it might be. Also, I think there is a paid option. You can actually do an upgrade within your open API, and I think you can actually give your own. You can pay money and then you can use it. But of course, I mean that I think would be having a much better performance. But I haven't tried it because I don't want to pay a lot of money for this one. It is a personal use. But if you want to, for example, improve the performance, you can simply use this upgrade model, the upgrade option, and you can get a corporate account. So I think that's about it. I mean, it's a very simple thing, and nothing much which was, I would say, interesting in itself. But ChatGPT is a new tool, and it's quite useful, and it looks quite snazzy on screen because you can simply use this to answer any questions from the front end without actually going into Google. So this looks quite nice. And if you want to just integrate any REST APIs, you can use this. So that's about it for today. Do like, share, subscribe, and thank you for watching this video. Bye bye. Until next time.